everybody. Hope this finds you all well. It is Wednesday, the 24th of January. The month is flying by. Like the year is already crying out loud. So 12's in the year and we've nearly through the first month already. Which is bonkers. If you told me that it'd go this quick, I'd ask for the remote so I could put a pause on it. Hope we're all good. Anyway, today we're going to be during this video, we're going to be discussing the UFC, or Ultimate Fighting Championship. This past Saturday night, over in the US, we had UFC 297. Sorry, as the lives over in Canada. It was in Canada this past weekend. It was an alright card. It had the potential to be better than what it actually was. Ultimately, it was okay, it did what it needed to do. We had Sean Strickland defend and lose his belt to Dricus du Plessis, the South African born new champion. We had Chris Curtis against Andre Barriault in a forgettable fight, like to the point of sending me and probably everyone watching to sleep. Chris Curtis being long time training partner of Sean Strickland. We had let me get the card because off the top of my head I can't remember some of the matches. Arnold Allen, who is from the UK, from Ipswich. He took on who did he take on? Oh, Evloev. And he should have beat Evloev. We'll get to that in a minute. So this was the card. We had Sean Strickland, Dricus du Plessis, Raquel Pennington winning the women's bantamweight title against Mara Bueno Silva in a very forgettable match. Neil Magny, who was losing, like he was on the verge of being finished, against Mike Malott, and Magny somehow turned it around. How? I don't know, but he managed to turn it around and get the KO, TKO of Mike Malott. So the main card was Arnold Allen losing a decision to Evloev. So early on in this match, my pick before was Arnold Allen. And early on in the match, it was all Evloev. Allen was doing his bit, but Evloev seemed to be connecting more, and it was taking Allen down at will. Like he had his wrestling. Evloev, most of that Evloev was bloody good, and I'd seen him wrestle before, and fight before. But you see how many fights when you watch the UFC that it's hard to remember exactly who is really good and what, etc, etc. But they said before the match on a preview I'd heard just how good his wrestling was, and I was like, yeah, but this is Arnold Allen, he'll knock him out. He didn't get the chance to. Evloev was taking him down quite easily, and Allen was scrambling to get out of the situations. But there was one point in the match when Arnold Allen had Evloev in a bad way. He was kneeing him in the head, and Evloev knew, the skeptics will say he knew that if he put one hand on the mat whilst kneeling down, and Allen kept landing these strikes, the ref would step in because that's an illegal move. The problem was Allen was trying to pull Evloev's head up to keep kneeing him in the head. He was trying to hold him up, which is not illegal. He didn't want him down, he wanted him up in a position where it would not be an illegal move. The ref stepped in to break it up, and therefore allowing Evloev valuable time to recuperate and go on and get the decision victory. Had that not happened, if the ref had not stepped in and stopped something that was completely legal, shame because Alan, who was not winning that fight up until that point, ultimately was screwed out of the victory that he'd managed to pull from the, the grips of a defeat, and then ended up losing anyway, which was a real shame. Next match on the card was Chris Curtis, Marc-Andre Barriot. Curtis winning a decision. I can't fight. Obviously I've never had any MMA training in my life, or boxing training. I've had a couple of stupid schoolyard scraps when I was younger, which are like embarrassing to think about now. But even me, as a complete novice, who, like, over the course of a year, never throws a punch, I've no need to. Probably not throw a punch in like over 20 years since I was in high school. Chris Curtis and Marc-Andre Barriot was a shocker of a fight, and I could have done better. That's what I'm getting at there by talking about fighting and my own experiences. I would have done better than them too. It was a horrible, boring fight, and it was a shame for the fans. They've paid a lot of money to go. Like I heard before the event, some of the tickets were going at like $500 Canadian dollars and upwards. I think that's like minimum $500. I'm like, what the hell? For this card, you're going to pay $500 or more. You've got to be bonkers. We had Neil Magny, Mike Malott, and Magny gets the win after 4 minutes 45 seconds of round 3, so it was only 15 seconds to go. Magny was losing this fight from probably rounds 2 and 3. First round was a bit more even, I guess, but towards the end of round 2 and round 3 he was taken down. He was being dominated by Mike Malott, and it looked like Malott was going to ground out a victory, a decision win, until Magny had a plan all along, it seemed. At the end, that's how it seemed anyway, which was to let Mike Malott knacker himself out to the point where he was unable to defend when Neil Magny made his comeback and took control of the fight. And in my opinion, the ref should have stepped in way sooner. Mike Malott was just taking unnecessary punches from Magny. The ref was stood there watching clearly, stood in with, like I'm looking at you now, he was looking at Mike Malott's head getting punched over and over and over again, with Malott not really trying to defend. His hand was there, but he wasn't trying to cover up, he wasn't trying to fight back. It was a really bad decision, in my opinion, to let it go that long. I don't think the commentators felt it was. Normally they'll call out a referee on the commentary if they think it was too long, too late of a decision. They didn't this time. Maybe it was just me who felt that it was delayed too long. I'm not sure. Let me know your thoughts if you watched the fight. Was it a late decision in your opinion? Should it have been stopped sooner? It was stopped at 4 minutes 45 seconds. I think it could have been stopped at, it doesn't sound a lot, but maybe 4 minutes 40 seconds, 4 minutes 38 seconds. Those 5 to 7 seconds, you can take a lot of damage in that time, unnecessary damage. The co-main line was Raquel Pennington against Mayra Bueno Silva. Oh my god. Talk about a snore fest. In the build up to it, when Bruce Buffer is announcing the fighters, there was more fight and enthusiasm in Silva in the start, like the announcement of her name than there was at any point in the fight. Like, I've never seen anyone get so hyped up for their own name and their own announcement as she did. And then when he actually comes to the fight, he's like, I reckon she's knacking herself out. I honestly think in the build up, she hyped herself up that much. When he comes to the fight, she was done. She lost a decision victory to Raquel Pennington. It was a nothing fight. Pennington's now the UFC bantamweight champion, the women's bantamweight champion, and hopefully we get the belt onto somebody who's a bit more fun sooner rather than later. I mean, she was tough, don't get me wrong. You can see she's a tough opponent to beat, but I don't see her being a dominant champion. I mean, Amanda Nunes was the recent champion. She vacated the belt, didn't she? When she stepped away. Yeah, I'd much rather see Amanda back there than Raquel Pennington as champion. Let's be honest, if Amanda was still there, Pennington doesn't win that belt off of Amanda. No chance. We then had the main event, which was Sean Strickland against Dricus du Plessis. Strickland won the belt in his last fight against Israel Adesanya. This belt, the middleweight title for the men, has gone. It's like a hot potato at the minute. We had Izzy as a dominant champ, defending, loses to Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira then goes up against Izzy in a rematch. Izzy beats Alex Pereira to take back his title. Izzy then goes up against Sean Strickland. Sean beats Izzy. So already in the last 4 fights out, Izzy defends against Alex and loses. Alex defends against Izzy and loses. That's 2 fights, 2 changes. Izzy defends against Sean and loses. So 3 fights in a row, the belt has changed hands. Alex takes on Dricus du Plessis in his first match, his first defence, and loses. That is 4 fights that the title has changed hands. That is absolutely bonkers. And then at the end of this, in the 5th fight, the next fight for this title, we could see it go all the way back to Izzy. That's the rumour, Izzy v Dricus down the line. Maybe UFC 300, we don't know for certain yet. I think something's going to be announced today. Or yesterday, was it? So look if it was, because I didn't see the news if it was. We had Sean lose the title, like I said, to Dricus. It was going alright actually for Sean. It was going really well. He was winning the first round at least, and a lot of people scored it for Sean Strickland ultimately. But it was going really well for him, and Dricus was just throwing overhands, like looping punches that anyone could see coming a mile off. There was astronauts in space looking down. Yeah, he was about to throw another punch in about 5 minutes. You know, they were that easy to see coming that it was a bit. I couldn't see how Dricus would win the fight, in all honesty. Strickland's way of fighting is pretty boring, if we're being honest, guys. Like, it was great to see him beat Izzy, as bad as that sounds. I do like Adesanya. Oh, I've got an itchy nose. But just the way Sean's character is, Sean Strickland, the way, the things he says, we always knew a big champion would be fun, even if his fight style isn't fun. Driggers was throwing, swinging back fists quite often, like he threw a lot of them. A fair few head kicks himself. He threw in some wrestling. But at some point in the fight, I think it's like the third round, there was, I'm not sure if it was an elbow. Sean Strickland tried to say it was a headbutt. But next thing you know, there's just blood everywhere. A huge cut above Sean's head, eye. And the blood was getting in his eye, and that was a turning point in the fight. And Driggers goes on to win a decision. And like I said, a lot of people had it scored for Strickland. I personally felt that Driggers did enough to win the belt. Like sometimes you'll get a fight where somebody wins the belt without doing enough to win the belt. If you're in a title fight trying to take the title, you need to do enough to take the title. It's no good just going out there and matching your opponent. If you are the challenger, then you need to do more than the champion to take, because you're trying to take something off of them. You need to give the judges reason and say, no, the champion didn't do as much as the challenger. The challenger therefore earned that title. And Driggers throwing in head kicks, swinging back fists, wrestling, the cut to Sean's eye, all these little added ingredients played a part in Driggers getting the decision. If the roles had been reversed, if Sean had thrown head kicks, spinning back fists, wrestling, and Driggers had just been jab, 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 etc., like Sean was, then Driggers doesn't win the title. Sean retains, but he didn't do anything different than the jab, and he obviously thought he could get Driggers out of there with a jab, and that wasn't going to happen. So the right man won, in my opinion, with new champion. It's set up, it couldn't be any better for Dana. Strickland, as fun as he is, he's very much a controversial character, to the point of causing offence with everybody time he opens his mouth. And that can be a problem if you're a huge coming out of the UFC and your champion is going out of their way to cause trouble and cause offence. Driggers won't be like that. And then you got this huge African battle between Izzy and Driggers, who've had a little rivalry going on now for about a year. Well before Izzy lost his title and Sean got the fight, Driggers was offered the fight with Izzy and he couldn't make the turnaround in time. He only fought recently before that, had to say no, and the fight went to Sean Strickland. Dana has spoken about taking it over to Africa. There's never been a UFC Africa card. I think right now that would be a great thing for the UFC. One of the reasons why, and it's quite sceptical of me to say this, but Francis Ngannou left the UFC, signed with PFL, is now having huge boxing matches with Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. He has spoken, Ngannou has, that in his contract with the PFL there is a stipulation or an agreement that they will take events to South Africa, or Africa in general, not necessarily South Africa, and they'll open up a PFL over there. How would Dana feel, knowing he's quite petty, if he could be over there before the PFL, putting on a huge match, a huge fight like Izzy v Driggers, and just to like piss on Ngannou's chips, basically, just to rub it in the wounds. You'll never be as big as the UFC, and in MMA terms, Ngannou is with a B or even a C league in PFL. UFC will always be the A League, always. So yeah, I don't know if we get Izzy against Triggers at UFC 300. That is probably the biggest fight they can put on right now for UFC 300, because you're not getting John Jones, Tom Aspinall, because it's going to be Jones Stipe at some point when they're both ready to fight again. You're not getting Connor at UFC 300 against Chandler. We ain't getting. It could be Alex Pereira, he could defend his belt, I guess, but the biggest fight right now would be Izzy going up against Triggers. Whether or not Triggers is ready to defend his belt in such a quick turnaround, I'm not sure, because it's in like April, isn't it? Let me just confirm that. UFC 300 is the 13th of April. Currently we have Justin Gaethje, Max Holloway, Wiley Zhang against Shannon, Yuri Prohaska, Alexander Rakic, Calvin Cater, Aljamain Sterling, Bo Nickel, Cody Brundage, Charles Oliveira, Arman Tsarukyan, Davison Figueiredo, Cody Garbrandt, Bobby Green, Jim Miller. Is a huge stacked card, but they do need a main event. We'll have to wait and see who that is in the main event, but we will do a UFC 300 video soon once we've got a few more fights confirmed, or a main event confirmed rather. We'll do a preview video, guys. Thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed. Hit that thumbs up and check out my membership section where there'll be videos uploaded once or twice a week. Just recorded my first video and posted it over there today. A 40-minute preview of the Royal Rumble this weekend. So check that out, guys, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye bye.